I wanted to speak a little bit about what looks to me like a process from something to nothing to all that is, or to everything. So as I look at this play of life from the perspective of the experiencing that's been occurring here as awareness, it looks to me that we're born into this life in openness, as awareness. We're born. We're this human. We're actually awareness before we're born, and then there's this human experience that awareness comes into life as a human being, as you are, and in that opening or introduction of the human being, awareness is totally aware of itself. The baby is completely present, and the baby doesn't know that it's completely present. So there comes a process, and I'm just looking at, okay, what's the benefit of identification with self? What is the benefit of this suffering, really? And that is that we take on this structure, we take on this categorizing the movement of awareness into things. We compartmentalize it to make sense of it from the mind's perspective, and we're taught that in many, many ways. I mean, I was reading a book with my nephew, and it was called Go Dog Go, and pictures of a red dog on a blue tree, and like, would it be the same thing to say to a child, well, here's a vibrating in this moment is a book, and in its expression it shows the vibration of color in the shape of what's implied as a dog. It just doesn't have the same effect, and in a way this learning of something is very entertaining, and in this entertaining we're sort of brought away from awareness being aware of itself just in its own self, simply awareness and expression. It moves away so that then there's an opportunity to consciously let go of all these ways of learning that aren't really actually true, to gradually, one by one, as is appropriate for you, in other words, your way, these ideas are let go of until your grace comes to claim you, awareness, to allow an awareness, a realized state of awareness. So you would not be conscious of the realized state if it wasn't for the fact that prior to that there was this identification with something, then that was let go of. So that's the beauty of being human, is we get to consciously be aware that we are awareness, that everything that's occurring is an incredible gift, that presence is a present, because just as easily that everything is in expression in this moment, it could easily not be. And the fact is, it is. Here it is. Here it is that right now in this moment there's this person speaking, and it's not really even a speaking, it's awareness speaking itself, and yet it looks like there's a person that's a female, and there's this sound, and it's of a particular flavor coming through this what I call a system. So you go from something into the realized state, or it's not even into, the realized state is realized, because it already knew itself, that you'll find that as this occurs for you, when this occurs. And then it's recognized that there's nothing actually going on here, that all that was believed in before, in that letting go, it disappears, and you disappear as a something as well. And that's then awareness aware of itself as nothing, as the nothingness that it is. And then in the midst of nothing, something begins to emerge. And from the nothingness, it becomes more and more full and rich of its own self, as it recognizes the appearance of its own self in this display of awareness. There is love and joy, no matter what it looks like. I mean, there are bits that are uncomfortable in it, perhaps, when they are, but ultimately, in a bigger way, it's still moving to clarification of its own self, to expansion of its own self, to fully embrace every little bit, because here it is. Why not? Why not be with every little bit? I invite you, totally invite you. Thank you for hearing my invitation.